What do you want to know? The process for doing fusions?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're going to do the fusion, you select your transducer. So we're going to use a 61, and that is in port 1. So the sensor has to go into port 1 also.
Okay.
If you have it in port 2, it's got to go in port 2. So when you've got your sensor connected and you have your magnet, we need to first of all start the patient. So we go to patients, and we're going to select the patient we want to do, which one was it?
Hoffman.
That one?
Yeah.
And we're just going to start the study. So that's opening the patient. Okay. And then at this point we need to turn on the fusion. So we go into more on the control panel and eSieFusion. And this will then boot up the fusion. And it will tell you on the screen, please wait while tracking system is initializing. And then it's ready, and you get actually a sign that says tracking is ready, and you can also see that you have your signal in the top right of the screen. So if I move the probe towards the magnet, you get really good signal. If I move it away, you get no signal.
Okay.
So at this point now we want to load the images onto the system. So we go back to patient and we go to the browser so we can look at the images in the local database. So when I click on the patient's folder, this will then give me all the previously downloaded CT runs. So we're going to choose the 5mm slicers, and to download I just double click with the select key, and then it tells you in the bottom left hand corner that this is loading the images. So this can take about up to a minute, depends on how many images you have. Really you want about 300 images and around 2mm slicers for best image quality. So when you have this section here, the 4 screens show you the data set, so that's a CT data set. And this red line actually shows us where we need to put our transducer when we initialize. Now at this point what we can do is we can use the Z-axis to scroll up and down through the CT, and this is really nice to show to customers. And we can also landmark, so I select the landmark on the keyboard console, and when I go onto my image now, I can press select and I can put as many landmarks as I want. So if you had like a cyst or a lesion, you can actually landmark it. So when we want to go to fuse, it's really important here, if you go to the distance control and actually measure the AP diameter of the patient's CT, and this comes at around 26 centimeters. So that is the depth that you want the ultrasound to be at when you start the fusion. So now we go on to fuse on the touchscreen, and the system will tell you to match the image. So remembering that initial point where the red line was on the screen that showed us where our starting point was, we have to hold the probe nice and straight and don't press down too much, because otherwise you'll distort the image. And at this point you then want the patient to breathe in and hold the breath. I'm going to change my depth to 26, and then you just press update and the CT will come on. You can then get the patient to breathe, you can start angling the probe, it doesn't really matter at this point now. So that's almost aligned perfectly, depends on where you've started with your transducer. You could actually, if you found that you didn't have very good fusion, you could actually go reset and it'll do it again. So it'll tell you to start in the middle, breath in and hold, updates, and it puts it back on again. So you can retune it if you want to. But our fusion works really nicely with point to point. It's really quick, it's really easy to do. So all we do is go on to point on the touchscreen. And here we actually use the ultrasound as our reference first. So I usually go for the right kidney and longitudinal. So you would scan so you get your right kidney. And if there was something on the kidney like a cyst, you could use that as your point to start on. But if you don't have a point to start on, I sometimes will use the upper pole or the lower pole. So we place our pointer onto the image, get the patient to breathe in and hold, and then when you get a point that you like, just press select, and then at this point you get your nice LS of your kidney on the CT, and put the points again in the same position as what you did on the ultrasound, and I press select, and that moves the two. So that's one point done. I then usually go on to the left hand side and again do the left kidney, and so I'd use the ultrasound first, I'd put my pointer on, I'd get the patient to breathe in and hold, and then I'd get on the CT, and it moves it again, so that's 2 points. And really I find sometimes after 2 points you can get really good fusion. but 3 points will give you much better. So at this point you could choose the portal vein, you could, you know, anything that you can use as a marker really, so it depends on the patient and what they've got. So I could use like the portal vein here, so I can choose it on the ultrasound, select, and then I can move and select again. And then you have fusion. So at this point it's really good to save the alignment. So on the touchscreen you've got save alignment. Now when you press that, on the screen now here, we've got the alignment saved. So if we make any changes and we mess the alignment up, all we do is go and click on the alignment box here and then go to show, and that will put you back to the original alignment. So as you're going along you can keep saving, that's really nice and easy. If we go back to the manual mode now, this will allow me to do drag and drop. So if you wanted to fine tune the image you can move it around. On the touch screen you've got layout, so some people prefer this side-by-side image, but you might find people like this sort of image where you have the CT and ultrasound superimposed and you have your corresponding images on the side. Or you could go to single screen mode, and this is nice as well, particularly if you're doing contrast runs, because you can have the two superimposed. And on the touch screen as well you have the transparency, so this allows me to wash out the CT essentially, so you have just the ultrasound image and you still get your markers there that ping up as well. So at this point you can now put your contrast on, for example, and you're always going to get your markers flashing because you know you're in the right place. That's it for now.
Bob's your uncle.